Hello students, so I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about revising your papers and what you can do to make sure that you are scoring as high as possible on the rubric for this final essay. So for those of you who are finished drafting, this can be helpful because you can go back through and make sure you have everything you need. For those of you who are still drafting, this could be helpful because it can kind of guide those efforts and help you maximize your final score. So the first thing that I'm going to grade you on is your thesis and your introduction. Now, I've told you guys this before, I always write my introductions last, but for the argument paper, it's actually really helpful to have your thesis first because it helps structure the rest of your paper. So I'm going to go show you an example of a student's paper that is structured this way. So the topic of this paper is cell phones and whether or not they should be banned for students. So there is a sentence here about the counter argument, that there's a lack of understanding about cell phones. That's what makes them, so misunderstood in schools. But the author's actually saying that it's a distraction, it diminishes social skills, and it increases cyberbullying. So the sections that he has here are distraction, and social skills, and cyberbullying. And then for his counterclaim, he has benefit and benefit emergencies. So his counterclaim was made very clearly, all of his supports are in there very clearly, and they're all organized based on that one thesis statement. So you might notice that this looks a little bit different from APA 6. There's no running head, the page number's right there. That's because for this, you want to make sure that you have your page number in the top right, your bold titles and headings, your references and title pages bold, and that you have a hanging indent for all of your citations. So what the hanging indent looks like is down here at the bottom, you want to make sure that all of your sources are like this. Now, if you're working in Google Docs, you can just kind of drag this over and manipulate that, and that'll do it. If you're working in Microsoft Word, you highlight this and then right-click and select Paragraph. And then it'll have spacing styles and you'll choose Special Hanging. So that's how this should look. Notice that this is all lowercase, this is uppercase and italicized because that is a journal article. So those kinds of things are important. That's what I'm going to look for when I grade you on your APA. While we're talking about APA, I want to point out that the in-text citations for this paper are also really well done. We have the last name only, there's no initials, last name, the date, and then the page number. When you're naming your author in the sentence, this is how it looks. And then when you have it in parenthetical, when you're just dropping it after your quote, this is how that looks. So again, just the author's name, the date, and the page number. So let's talk a little bit about paragraphs. What am I looking for in your paragraphs? Your paragraphs should all have really strong topic sentences and really strong transition sentences. So if you look back at this example, you'll see that there is a topic sentence here and that there's also a transition sentence here. None of this begins or ends with any source material, and that's what I'm looking for. When I talk about transitions, I don't just mean phrases. I mean, I want to see how ideas are connecting, and sometimes that means you have to write a sentence in between two pieces of source material or two different ideas, or especially between two paragraphs. I argue that you should always have a transition sentence between two paragraphs, unless it's the last paragraph, in which case it just needs to be a concluding sentence. So what makes a good topic sentence? A good topic sentence is something that tells you what this paragraph is going to do. And that's one of the reasons why I like using headings in my own papers, is because I already know what that section is supposed to be about and what it's supposed to discuss. So here I know that this entire paragraph is going to be about cyberbullying and how it can contribute to suicide and other insecurities. And I know that all of the information in here is going to relate back to that main idea. So that's why topic sentences are really important. Finally, this is one that a lot of students have trouble with. You want to make sure that you're not using first person. Now, if it helps you to just write in the first person, that's fine. And actually, that's what this author did. He wrote this whole paper in first person, and then together we went through, and I helped him take all of the I and the we and the us, all of that stuff out, and we used specific nouns and changed everything so that it was much more objective and academic. Because remember, you don't know exactly who's going to read your paper. So if you say us, we, I, our, they don't know which identity you're referring to there. You want to make sure that you keep it as objective as possible by using the third person and being specific about these communities that you're making statements about. So that's it. If you have any questions about anything, please let me know. I'm more than happy to go over and check these papers with you. I've done that with a lot of students this week. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week.